expose too much of yourself. But, of course, it's very difficult to talk about the way you feel different without talking about your childhood and what happened to you in childhood to make you feel different. And really, the thing that made you feel different in so many ways was the meningitis, wasn't it?
Yeah. You lose your memory. It does things.
You're about 7. Can you? I mean, can you?
I remember most of it now, but there's still like large holes there. And I don't really want to fill them in. If my brain can't recall them, then that's just fine. But not being able to remember your own name or your own mother and father or anything at all, and for little bits of that to be coming in over a period of 4 years, that's pretty close to torture, really. To be taken home by 2 complete strangers because another stranger nurse has told you these are your parents, you know, and you have serious doubts about that. And, you know, a young kid, you think you're being stolen. So the way they deal with that in the hospital is that the nurses would say, well, who do you think you are? And that was a puzzlement, cruel question. But it's that kind of harshness that gets the brain to click out of its coma. I had to believe these are my mum and dad. They were kind. They seemed to want me. The hospital seemed not to want me. I had no place else to go. But it was murderously cruel and torturous. And mostly because I thought, inside, it must be my fault. I must have done something wrong here.
Yeah.
You know,
7-year-old,
guilt. Yeah. And a lot of that Catholic guilt, you know, they drive that into you at a very early age.
You must have done a mortal sin.
Yeah. And the nuns, you know, you go back to your school and the nuns are as wicked as ever, but with an added touch.
But how did it happen? I mean, it suddenly began to happen to you? You began to realise, you began to have hallucinations or something. Did people know what was the matter with you?
Oh, you mean, yeah, just before
you
I
actually
slipped, yeah. I would see things. I knew they weren't real, but I would see them very clear. And one side of my brain was telling me it isn't real, but the other side is completely going hysterical, and I have no control over that at all.
Green dragons?
Yeah, green dragons. Ludicrous.
You go into hospital, and I don't know what's the treatment. What's the treatment involved when you go into hospital? What do they have to do to you?
Most of it just seemed like metal bars and rods, and you know, because they just strap up your brain and be having a poke around in there. But mostly it was every couple of hours. I can't remember now what the substance was, but it was very, very painful. The injections. And withdrawing fluid from my spine, at the base of my spine, because it was brought on by fluid seeping into the brain and causing pressure, and that's where hallucinations, etc., came from. None of that is a great memory, but it is a good memory, really, too, because I survived it. You know, and that's my little battle that I've had in life, and I'm really pleased I did. And I came out of it learning to trust complete strangers, and found that very rewarding, that they really were my parents when that came about. That's a wonderful thing. So you learn to love trust from that moment onwards. And when people lie, it's unacceptable to me. On any level.
Because of going through that, no one should lie to you.
Because I know that every time anyone would lie to me when I was that young, that lie would hurt when I found it to be different.
But when you came